The skies over Zythera shimmered with colors no human had ever seen. Light from the twin suns danced across the floating cities, and the forests below glowed softly with bioluminescent plants. It was a world of wonder, ruled by advanced technology and strict traditions. Among its people, none were as remarkable or as carefully watched as Princess Liara. Liara walked along the crystal balconies of her palace, her long silver hair flowing behind her. She had seen many things in her life: grand ceremonies, brilliant scientists, and warriors of unmatched skill, but one thought filled her mind every day. What lay beyond Zythera? What secrets did other worlds hold? Her curiosity was not just a childish fancy. As the heir to the throne, she had responsibilities. Part of those responsibilities was understanding the galaxy, its creatures, and its civilizations. Yet despite her knowledge, one species always fascinated her most: humans. Rare travelers, humans were unpredictable, bold, and curious. They were unlike Zytherans, who valued structure, rules, and tradition above all else. That fascination turned into excitement one ordinary morning. A distant starship's maul, barely a speck in the vast sky, sent a distress signal. Lyra's advisors noticed it first, and a team of scouts confirmed the worst. The ship had crashed in the vast forest below the palace, without waiting for permission. Liara insisted on going to see for herself. She slipped into her personal craft, a sleek silver vessel that moved silently through the glowing sky. Her heart beat faster with each passing mile. Perhaps this was her chance to see humans up close. Perhaps this was fate. The forest was dense, filled with glowing flora that pulsed like a heartbeat. Liara landed her craft carefully, careful not to disturb the creatures around her. Smoke rose from a clearing, and she saw the wreckage. The human starship was broken in half, its hull bent and scorched. Amid the wreckage, humans moved frantically, trying to save each other. One of them, a young man with dark hair and bright eyes, stood out. He directed his companions with calm authority, helping the injured and fixing minor malfunctions in their ship. He didn't seem afraid of the forest, the unknown, or even her. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. He was different. Brave, thoughtful, and quick, everything she had imagined humans could be. She watched as he carefully lifted a small crew member out of danger, using a combination of skill and intuition. "I need to meet him," she whispered to herself, yet she could not approach openly. The royal court had strict rules. Contact with humans was forbidden. If anyone saw her, she could face severe consequences, even exile. So she watched from the shadows, fascinated by his every move. Ethan the human worked tirelessly. Sweat gleamed on his forehead and his clothes were torn from the crash. He spoke softly to his crew, encouraging them, calming their fears, and finding solutions where others saw only problems. His determination reminded Liara of Zythera's great heroes, but his humanity shone in his compassion and creativity. Liara wanted to speak to him, but she also wanted to understand him first. She observed quietly, noting his curiosity, his problem-solving, and the way he treated his crew with respect. It was clear he saw value in everyone, even those others might ignore. As night fell, the forest took on a magical glow. The trees emitted soft lights and the stars above reflected in Lyra's eyes. Ethan sat by the wreckage, working on a small device. He murmured to himself in a language unfamiliar to her. And yet there was a rhythm, a logic in his words. Liara felt an unusual pull in her chest. She had seen many humans in stories, met a few diplomats and traders, but none had moved her like this. She realized it wasn't just fascination. She wanted to know him, to understand his mind, to share thoughts and ideas across the vast distance of their species. With careful steps, she moved closer, hiding behind trees and shadows. She wanted to see if he would notice her presence, if he would act differently, or if his focus would remain entirely on his people and the ship. Ethan looked up suddenly, sensing movement. His gaze swept the forest, calm but alert. Liara froze. If he noticed her, what would he think? Fear? Curiosity? She held her breath, hoping he wouldn't see her. Instead, Ethan smiled faintly. Not at her, but at the beauty of the forest. This place. It's incredible, he said softly. Even after all the trouble, it's worth being here. Aliera's heart leaped. He appreciated the world around him. Not just for survival, not just for resources, but for its wonder. She had never met a human like him before. Hours passed. Ethan and his team continued their repairs. Liara observed as he found clever solutions, using limited tools and ingenuity. When a section of the ship was too damaged, he improvised a device using materials from the forest, creating a temporary energy source. She was amazed. Finally, exhaustion caught up with Ethan. He sat down beside the ship, closing his eyes for a moment. Liara realized he was not just strong or intelligent, he was human in the best sense of the word. Resilient, compassionate, inventive, and endlessly curious. Impulsively, she decided to reveal herself just a little. She stepped forward into the soft glow of the forest, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you need help?" Ethan's eyes snapped open. He stared at her, confusion mixing with awe. The figure before him was unlike anything he had ever seen. Silver hair shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes held a depth he could not describe. She radiated authority, yet there was gentleness in her expression. Who are you?" he asked, trying to remain calm. "I am Liara," she said simply, "Princess of Zithera." I saw your ship crash, and I wanted to make sure no one was hurt," Ethan blinked. A princess. On this alien world, and yet her words were sincere, without arrogance or fear. "I thank you," he said slowly. "We've had some rough moments, but we're managing." Liara smiled faintly. "You are different from what I expected. You care for your crew, and you use your mind in ways my people rarely do." Ethan tilted his head, intrigued. "You watch humans?" She laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Not usually, but you. I had to see for myself. You are remarkable." For the first time, Liara felt a flutter of something unfamiliar, a connection, fragile but real. Ethan did not treat her like a stranger or a superior being. He treated her as a being to be understood, respected, and admired. They spent the rest of the night talking quietly, carefully, without others around. Liara asked about his world, his people, and his ideas. Ethan spoke of humans' creativity, their mistakes, and their hopes. They discovered a shared fascination with knowledge, exploration, and the universe's mysteries. As dawn approached, Liara realized the danger of what she had done. Her secret meetings could be discovered, and the consequences could be severe. Yet, for the first time, she felt truly alive, curious, and inspired. "I should go," she said softly. "Before anyone notices I'm here?" Ethan nodded, though his eyes lingered on her. "I hope we meet again," he said. "I'd like to learn more about your world." "And you." Lyra's heart warmed at his words. "And I yours," she replied. "Perhaps one day, humans and Zitherans can understand each other better than ever before." She vanished into the shadows, leaving Ethan to wonder if she had been a dream, a vision brought on by the strange beauty of Zithera. But he knew she was real because her presence had sparked something in him he could not ignore. Liara returned to her palace with a mind racing with ideas, fascination, and obsession. Not an unhealthy one, but a desire to know, to understand, to connect with a being so different and yet so extraordinary. She wondered if humans like Ethan could one day change Zithera not through force, but through inspiration, and somewhere deep inside, she knew this was only the beginning. The morning sun rose over Zithera, casting gentle light on the floating cities and the glowing forests below. Princess Liara sat by her window, her silver hair catching the sunlight. Her mind replayed the events of the night before the human. Ethan, his bravery, his cleverness, and most of all, the way he had inspired her. She knew she had to see him again. Curiosity had grown into something stronger, a desire to understand him, to connect. Yet the royal rules weighed heavily on her. Contact with humans was forbidden. If anyone discovered her secret meetings, her position and, perhaps even her freedom would be at risk. but the pull she felt was too strong to ignore. By mid-morning, she had made a decision. She would meet him openly this time, not just in shadows. She would face whatever consequences came, because she could not let fear stop her curiosity and fascination. Meanwhile, Ethan and his crew were still working on repairing their ship. Despite exhaustion, Ethan remained calm and focused, thinking of solutions when others felt helpless. He had never encountered a world like Zithera before, full of strange beauty and incredible technology. And he had never met a being like Liara, yet approachable, intelligent yet warm. Liara approached the wreck site carefully, but this time she did not hide. She stepped into the clearing, letting the soft glow of the forest illuminate her figure. Ethan looked up, startled at first. His hand instinctively went to his belt, ready for defense. But he saw no threat in her stance. "Liara," he said, almost in disbelief. "You came back?" "Yes," she replied simply. "I wanted to see you again." "I wanted to speak with you openly?" Ethan's eyes softened. "I'm glad. It's unusual, but I feel like we can learn from each other." Liara smiled. "That is what I hope. Humans are fascinating. You think differently than we do. You see possibilities that my people often overlook." Together, they walked around the ship, discussing solutions for repairs and improvements. Ethan explained how humans used simple tools to solve complex problems, improvising when needed. Liara shared Zitheran technology, and together, they created a hybrid system to power the damaged ship as the day passed. They spoke not only of technology, but of culture, ideas, and dreams. Ethan was curious about Zitheran traditions, about the floating cities and the rules that governed Lyra's life. Liara asked about humans, about Earth, and the ways humans had survived and thrived despite challenges. By late afternoon, the bond had formed not just curiosity, but respect and admiration. They challenged each other's thinking, learned from each other, and laughed together. The forest seemed to glow brighter, as if celebrating this rare friendship between two very different beings. But danger lurked nearby. The Royal Council had noticed Lyra's absence and had begun investigations. Reports came in of unusual activity near the human ship. If discovered, Liara could face severe consequences. And yet she could not abandon Ethan now. Not when she had come so far. Suddenly an urgent alert flashed from the palace communications. A rogue alien faction, long thought to be inactive, had mobilized near Zithera. Their goal was to seize the planet's energy cores, which powered the floating cities and sustained life across the planet. If successful, they would cripple Zithera, endanger everyone, and possibly destroy Ethan and his crew. Lyra's heart pounded. She knew she had to act. She realized something important. Humans had a unique way of thinking that could help. "Ethan," she said urgently, "we need your help. My people face a threat. If we fail, it could destroy Zithera. Your ideas? Your human perspective may be the key." Ethan nodded immediately. "Tell me what's happening, and I'll do what I can." She explained the situation, the rogue faction, the energy cores, and the potential danger to the planet. Ethan listened carefully, already analyzing possible solutions. He suggested combining human tactics with Zitheran technology, using the floating cities themselves as defensive platforms. Liara relayed his ideas to the palace engineers and her closest advisors, who were skeptical at first but eventually agreed to try. As preparations began, Liara and Ethan worked side by side. She admired his ability to remain calm under pressure, to see solutions where others saw only problems. And Ethan admired her courage and her willingness to risk everything to protect her people. The rogue faction arrived at night, sleek ships moving silently through Zithera skies. The defenders of Zithera, guided by Ethan's strategies, used the floating city's energy fields to create protective barriers. Humans and Zitherans worked together. Combining their skills to outsmart the attackers, Liara piloted a craft alongside Ethan, coordinating movements and giving real-time instructions. The alien attackers were clever, but they had not anticipated the combination of human ingenuity and Zitheran technology. Every move they made was met with a calculated response. turning the battle into a brilliant display of strategy and teamwork. At one critical moment, a rogue ship broke through the defenses, heading straight for a city core. Ethan, thinking quickly, directed Liara to use a nearby energy conduit. Together, they redirected the energy, creating a force field that deflected the attack and neutralized the threat. The rogue faction, realizing they had underestimated the humans, retreated. Zethera was safe. The city floated peacefully above the forest, glowing brightly under the twin suns. Liara and Ethan landed their craft, breathing heavily but smiling at their success. "You did it," Liara said, her eyes shining. "Humans, your ideas saved us." Cathan smiled. "We did it together. Your people's technology, your leadership, it was amazing." The royal council, who had observed the battle from the palace, was stunned. They had never seen such bravery, intelligence, and teamwork. For the first time, they began to see humans not as strangers, but as potential allies. Liara faced the council openly. "This human, Ethan, has shown courage, intelligence, and respect. He is not a threat, but a friend. And his people. Your people can be our allies in ways we never imagined." The council debated, but the evidence of the humans' contributions was undeniable. Slowly, they nodded, granting Liara permission to continue contact with Ethan. It was a historic decision, one that would change Zethra's relationship with humans forever. Later, as they walked through the glowing forest, Ethan looked at Liara. "I never expected to find so much here, or to meet someone like you." Liara smiled, feeling warmth she had never felt before. "And I never expected to be so inspired by a human. You have shown me courage, creativity, and a spirit that my people sometimes lack. You have made me see new possibilities." Ethan took a deep breath. "Then let's keep learning from each other. Not just about our worlds, but about what we can do together." Liara nodded. She realized that her fascination with humans had grown into something deeper: admiration, respect, and a genuine desire to connect across species. Ethan was not just a curiosity. He was a partner in exploration, a mind that challenged hers, and a heart that valued life in all its forms. The forest around them pulsed with light, as if celebrating their bond. For the first time, Liara felt that the universe was full of possibilities, not just for her, but for all who dared to dream, explore, and trust one another. As night fell over Zethra, Liara and Ethan stood together, looking at the stars above. They knew the galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. But they also knew that humans and Zetherans together could face any challenge, protect what they loved, and create a future brighter than either species could imagine alone. And so, what began as fascination grew into a partnership. One built on courage, intelligence, and the enduring human spirit. Liara had discovered that humans were more than just a curiosity. They were inspiration, allies, and friends. And Ethan had discovered that in the heart of an alien princess, he had found not only fascination, but a mind and spirit that matched his own. Together, they looked toward the future, knowing that this was only the beginning of a journey that would take them across the stars, uniting worlds through respect, understanding, and the extraordinary power of humanity.